together, reunited, and it feels so good. Welcome. My name is Nicole Dumas, proud alumni of the class of 1990, and with me is Ellen Boyd-Manekas, class of 1978. And parents of 3 BLS graduates and married to an alumnus of BLS. So Ellen's got it all going on right here. But tonight it's our honor to recognize that 50 years ago this fall, the first girls walked up the front steps and through the doors of Boston Latin. Changing the school forever.
Nicole, I was one of those girls who entered in the fall of 1972. But while it was intimidating, it was also very exciting.
Oh, yes, sure was. Ellen said earlier, like you were all tied in. You must bleed purple, right? You're a graduate, you married a graduate, your children are graduates, and you are the BLS school nurse. So I mean, again, like all the respect to you, Ellen. I salute you and the female pioneers of those early years. Let's take a look back, shall we?
The 70s, a time of cultural and geopolitical change, shook up nearly every aspect of life in the United States.
The 70s would bring the same changes to Boston, from fashion to music to politics and protest.
Change was afoot.
Public education was among the frontiers.
Girls were about to step into the hollowed male bastion hallways of boys' Latin school.
100 years earlier, in 1877, an attempt had been made by the Massachusetts Society for the University Education of Women, who petitioned the Boston School Committee so that
Such course of classical instruction may be offered to the girls in Boston Latin School as it is to the boys.
The fighting was fierce, and when the dust settled, in February 1878, 37 girls began matriculation at the newly established Girls' Latin School.
Back to the 70s.
in late December 1970, Mass Law Reform Institute filed a suit in U.S. District Court on behalf of 4 girls who had taken the exam and achieved high enough grades for boys' Latin, but, given fewer spots at girls' Latin, were denied access.
But on August 5, 1971, Massachusetts Governor Francis W. Sargent signed Chapter 622 into law, essentially barring sex discrimination in public schools.
The Boston City's Law Department interpreted the newly signed Chapter 622 to mean the segregated public schools were now illegal.
Never has an issue been more furiously debated, initially loathed, and universally feared than that of girls entering Latin school.
BLS alumni and the headmaster, Wilfred O'Leary, worked to petition an exemption for the Latin schools.
The City Council actually voted in favor 7-2 for the exemptions so that boys and girls Latin school would remain single-sex.
However, Boston's Mayor Kevin White vetoed the ruling, thus paving the way for girls to enter Latin school.
On September 9, 1972, 104 girls entered the school amidst 2,000 boys.
It was difficult for the girls. They were under the microscope. Everything they did was watched.
They were the first ones.
Some teachers were supportive.
Others felt the school should never have gone co-ed.
I will never forget the first day walking down the hallway.
It was incredibly scary.
All eyes were on us. You could not escape.
The stairs.
The boys whispered.
They pointed.
It was as if they never saw a girl before.
I remember the stairs. All I remember is the stairs.
At first, we were treated like queens.
We got away with a lot.
But later, not so much.
There was no gym for us the first year. 1 bathroom.
The lab.
No clubs wanted us.
Although the drama club was happy for girls,
We even started our own, even cheerleading. It didn't take long for our clubs to open up to us.
Just not the first year.
It was hard to speak up in class.
I was definitely intimidated.
Sometimes we were singled out unfairly.
For those of us who experienced these changes,
we're definitely better for it.
The girls enlivened the school.
They brought new energy.
Stronger academic competitiveness.
Even Wilfred O'Leary admitted the girls made the boys better students, and Latin school a better place. More boys were accepted to Ivy League schools that year than the previous 10 years before.
There were many firsts, some seen and many unseen.
It is now that we celebrate the pioneers.
The first girls, now women, who took on the challenge of boys' Latin school and have become vital threads of Latin's impressive history.
That is powerful, powerful. There's a lot of history at our school, and always a reminder that we stand on the shoulders of those who came before. Shifting gears though a little bit, I want to share that since our 2020 celebration was taped, at this time I would like to invite Prince Charles Alexander, class of 1975, our distinguished graduate of the class of 2020, to please stand. Prince Charles is a musician, a 3-time Grammy Award winner, and professor at the Berly School of Music.
He is a sought-after recording and mixing engineer whose clients have included Mary J. Blige, Usher, Sting, Aretha Franklin, and so many other notable performers.
I mean, seriously. Seriously. Prince Charles, thank you for all you are giving to the world of music and for your ongoing contribution as a loyal alumnus to the Latin School.
If you want to know why he's called Prince Charles, you can watch the video on the BLS website if you want to know.
You want to
Okay, so please turn your attention to the screen.
Oh, actually, Ellen, can we do something real quick? Can we take a selfie for my Instagram? Sure. Can we? Okay, all right. I think Ms. Garrett says selfies are best when taken from on high, okay? Boom.
All right, now please turn your attention to the screen.
And to the BLS Head of School Instagram account, BLS Thrives. Give it a follow, please.
As we welcome Head of School Jason Gallagher and former Head of School Rachel Sierra.
Flash, a theatrical flourish, an athletic come-from-behind victory. Club members strategize, breakdance, share their diverse cultures. Classroom experiments lead to discovery. Musical improvisation brings applause. Laughs and hugs in the hallway. Parent potlucks and fundraisers. A faculty talent show evokes loud cheers. Smile. Every moment counts. Students, staff, families. Together, they create memories. Together, they leave a legacy. Our community is dynamic. So much happens every day on our bustling campus and throughout the city. It is truly a privilege to behold. Flash. In an instant, the moment lives on and is shared and is liked 100, 200, 500 times. We learn and celebrate one another, and community strengthens. BLS thrives.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Rachel.
How are you enjoying your first annual dinner as head of school?
It's terrific. I'm taking it all in. I've been excited to celebrate with alumni. Shout out to the class of 91, as you all see, as well as families and friends of BLS, but I didn't realize that we got to do some sort of presentation tonight.
Oh, you did, yeah. Well, pro tip number 1 from someone who served in this role, you gotta stay ready, so you don't have to get ready, okay? Yeah, folks like Peter Kelly will have you up here at a podium with no notice, okay? It's crazy, so just recognize that. But this is a really special event. You know, we're here for an important reason tonight. Starting a new trend for the new era of Latin school, a new tradition even. Similar to the passing of the Olympic torch, this is the official handoff of the BLS Instagram account.
Rachel, I think we did that handoff over the summer, and we do it all fall.
Right, that's true. Pivoting. Okay, may maybe we could use this opportunity for me to give you some constructive criticism about this school. Because pro tip number 2, as head of school, you are subject to a lot of criticism. Some of it is not constructive. Okay? So you're doing a great job. I hope that everyone who has an Instagram account follows you at BLS Thrives. But I would just recommend that you just tone down your enthusiasm a little bit. I think there should be a limit on the number of exclamation points.
I know, it's just I'm so excited about the accomplishments that our students have every day and our entire community has, and it's just hard to describe with commas and periods.
Understood. Well, we need to do something tonight to commemorate this peaceful transition of social media power. Maybe a picture of the room for the gram?
Yeah, let's do that. All right.
Okay, give me a second. As Nicole mentioned, you need a high angle.
Is this pro tip number 3?
No, this is actually a tip for everyone who graduated before the year 2000. This is just one about these lines on your faces. Am I right? Okay, great. Well, Jason, before I lead you to it, I'd love to do 2 things tonight. One is you've heard this BLS Thrives repeatedly, and I know that most of you are aware of this, but I think it's just worth mentioning that THRIVE is the acronym that represents our 6 core values. I think I'm just going to speak them into the space very quickly. T, together we are stronger. H, honor our past, speak truth to the present and lead into the future. R, respect each other, respect our unique identities, respect the fundamental humanity of each person. I, impact the world locally and globally. V, value our minds, bodies, and holistic well-being. E, embody excellence through our efforts and deeds. And when I see Prince Charles, and I know the honorees that we're going to celebrate tonight, they just exemplify that THRIVE core value. So I just wanted everyone to be clear on what we mean when we say BLS Thrives. So just wanted to share that. But more important than that, what I'd love to do while I have a minute here is just to publicly say to you, Jason, what an honor and a joy it has been to work with you over the last few months as we continue to ensure that BLS students continue to thrive. Your experience as a BLS leader, as principal at Harvard Kent, you're prioritizing equity and excellence every day in that role. You're calm under pressure, your boundless optimism, they all combine, plus your love and care for every student in the city of Boston. You are the absolute terrific right fit for our 29th head. And I would like to take this moment to thank you in advance for your many, many years of service. So I'll leave you to it.
Rachel, thank you for your steady and excellent leadership during tumultuous times. Words and Instagram photos can't capture what you mean to all of us. You set a standard of excellence, and you ensured BLS was a place for all to thrive. You joined Ms. Cornelia Kelly, Ms. Lyndon Miteta, and Mr. Mike Conapasas. Together, you've transformed our school for the better, and have left very big shoes for me to fill. So, thank you, Rachel. Since becoming head of school, I've asked a lot of questions, and let me answer a couple of them to you right now, so you get to learn a little bit more about me and my strong confidence in Boston Latin School. So I've been asked continuously, how has Boston Latin School changed since I was a student and graduated in 1991? And during the obvious transformation of the physical building, while I was fortunate to play the very first basketball game in the new Roach Gymnasium against basketball legends like Mayor Ray Flynn and Governor Mike Dukakis, there have been a lot of changes that we take for granted. The biggest transformation have mostly been programmatic and not just physical. And 2 of the notable ones are the Shawbell Center for College Research and the Cloud Center for Global Understanding. So thank you, Mr. Shawbell and Mr. Cloud for those amazing. And then there's the Cartley Institute for Transition and Support, and I know Ms. R.D.'s here somewhere, has been vital for young scholars navigating the transition to Boston Latin School's rigors. And I know that because my family personally benefited from a lot of those new Latin School services. But seeing it from the vantage point of the head of school, I'm just in awe of the amount of work that our staff does. We should all be immensely proud of the evolution of our school community, and so much of it has been made possible by donors like you. I feel like I'm on the WGBH show. Donors like you. So folks have also wondered, with all the support, is the school as rigorous as it used to be? And my answer to that is a resounding yes. We observe students in civics classes debating gerrymandering as we lead into the elections. I marvel at aspiring biologists studying the genetics of their own tasting genes. And I listen to calculus students describe their work on 3D objects like PhD mathematicians explaining complex theorems. That doesn't sound like the BLS that I attended, but I confess that I actually didn't spend a lot of time in AP math class. And the rigor question often comes up when people ask me about the exam school policy as well. And next fall, we'll have students in the school admitted under the 4th different policy in 4 years. And sometimes that's hard to keep track. But for next fall there is a test that is required. But no matter the admissions policy, our Boston Latin School students continue to thrive. Students are best. Students are rising to the demands of BLS and taking advantage of the amazing opportunities our community offers. And I look forward to sharing more of our student successes as time goes by. At the end of the day, our student pathways may be different, but we are one Latin school. We have more than 150 faculty and over 2,400 students, all of whom bring talents and intelligence expressed in different measures, but who come together to make one great school. And I know this not just because I'm an educator, but I'm also a BLS parent. And I would get in serious trouble, sorry for going off script, if I didn't give kudos to my wife, Cheryl, who's here tonight. She is also a BLS parent. She may not be a BLS mom, but she was the hockey mom for a couple of years, and I think that gets her pretty close. And while my son Devin, who was in the class of 18, was a very successful student athlete, knew exactly what he wanted to do, did well at BLS, went on to college, and now has an amazing rewarding career at the young age of 22, his brother Noel, who graduated in the class of 21, wasn't quite as self-directed, but he worked really hard, and he benefited from many of those opportunities that I described to you. And now he's in college and he's excelling. And they're examples of how BLS opens myriad of roads for students to success that are a little bit different for everyone. Some students take loads of AP courses, while others battle just to get through their regular classes. But for all of them, Boston Latin School significantly changes the trajectory of their lives. And then finally, the question I get is, what's it like to be the head of school at Boston Latin? In a word, amazing. Growing up in Charlestown, the son of a nurse and a yeah. I hope that's Charlestown people. Growing up in Charlestown, the son of a nurse and a firefighter, basketball was my thing. And someday I wanted to play for the Boston Celtics. And while that dream ended pretty quickly in that gymnasium in 1991, I made sure I had a good backup plan. And about 20 years ago, when I was a teacher and I was taking grad school classes for my ed leadership class, my friend asked me, why are you taking those classes? And I said, someday I wanted to be the headmaster at Boston Latin School. He actually texted me in June and reminded me of that conversation. So while I may not be Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics, I do feel pretty good about Jason Gallagher of the Boston Latin School Wolfpack, and I couldn't be prouder. Before I wrap up, I want to give a shout out to a pretty special couple of students who from BLS who are here tonight. We welcome please Fabiola Alanis Ramirez and Ricardo Rolo. Where are you guys? Where are you seeing them there? They are our co-class presidents this year, and I'm hearing that Mr. C told me the last time we had co-class presidents was 1957 when his class had co-class presidents. So thanks for being here tonight, Ricky and Fabiola. At this time, I would like to invite current BLS students Zoe Collymon, Gabe Feinberg, and Cynthia Wine to the stage to introduce our outstanding recent graduate.
Strong women.
Caring women.
Internal power to care deeply.
Pass on to other generations.
The ability to look around.
To be curious.
To solve problems.
To make a difference.
Berly.
Berly Cordero.
Berly. Your grandmothers
inspired you.
To support women.
Berly.
Born in the Dominican Republic.
Moves to the United States.
Grew up in Austin.
Berly. Saw a problem.
Created a solution.
Women's worth.
To help low-income women achieve financial independence.
One person.
One love.
One class
At a time. At Boston Latin School.
With a backpack heavier than she was.
Look to your left.
Look to your right.
Tag.
Talented and gifted Latinas.
Speech and debate club.
Berly.
Use the power of words to create change.
And skills for life.
Berly. At Fordham University.
She found
Strength in a community of women.
and Spanish and international studies.
Berly.
Kind. Resilient.
Adapting.
Learning.
Thriving.
Experiencing.
Berly.
Berly Cordero.
For your intellectual curiosity.
For your empathy.
For creating opportunities.
And new life paths onto others.
Building bonds.
And strong communities.
The Latin School recognizes you.
Berly Cordero.
Class of 2002.
As
the 2022 Outstanding Recent Graduate.
Thank you, Zoe, Cynthia, and Dave. Berly, would you join me on the stage?
I'm honored to receive this award from the Boston Latin School Association. BLS was a foundational experience for most of us, for many reasons. For me, it was at Latin that I first got to take on a leadership role as a young woman and learn that my voice was valuable. It's a lesson for which I am forever grateful. For personal reasons, my junior and senior years were especially difficult. But I got support from my teachers and my counselors, and I made it through. And it taught me resilience, because it was never even suggested that I should quit. I also learned what a difference giving someone a bit of support can make. My time at Latin has continued to guide me. I don't think I would have ever thought that I could make a difference and give other women a bit of support had it not been from my experience at Latin school. My classmates were also there when I first launched Women's Worth and supported our first crowdfunding campaign. And it's thanks to this community that we've been able to help over 500 women living in poverty in Nicaragua. It's also thanks to this community and Boston Latin School that I am the person that I am today. I'm very touched and moved by this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, Berly. The ripple effect of the impact you've had on the lives of more than 500 women in Nicaragua will be felt the world over and for generations to come. Their lives and our world will be better because of the work that you've done, so we all owe you a great debt of gratitude. Thanks for making us all so proud to be part of this community. Thank you, Berly. Congratulations. And thanks to all of you for what you do to ensure that we, the BLSA, have the resources we need to support the work of Boston Latin School, to ensure that we can accelerate the success of Zoe and Gabe and Cynthia and the future Berlys. There are more than 2,400 in my Boston Latin School, and your philanthropy allows us to do great things for those kids. So thanks to all of you. I'd like to particularly thank the sponsors of the celebration this evening, whose names appear in your programs. They're among the nearly 3,000 supporters of our work. Please join me in giving special thanks to this evening's platinum sponsors, Joanne and Robert Fallon, Judy Samuelson and Bill Chabel, Deanna and Sydney Wolk, and CIEE, the Council on International Educational Exchange. Our benefactors are inspired in their generosity not only by the excellence of our students, but also by the talents of the school's educators who deserve our appreciation. There's a whole bunch of them over here. They deserve our applause too. And I think these donors are also all motivated by the exceptional care and commitment of our leaders. Let me give my own personal public welcome to my new partner in this work, Jason Gallagher. I can tell you that after a few months working together, my assessment is that this guy is the real deal. And I'm eager to see his charms. Looking at you, Jason. Gallagher, not Taylor. I'm eager to see his charms in action during meetings with prospective donors. How many cell phone numbers did you get tonight, Jason? Anyway, I put an appointment on my calendar with Jason, or on Jason's calendar for Monday morning, so if the phone rings, please pick up. It's an understatement to say that he has big shoes to fill. The same can be said for every headmaster we've welcomed, cheered on, and celebrated, such as the special guests here this evening, Cornelia Kelly and Michael Comagazis. And finally, a last public thank you to Rachel Scarrett. As we transition, we should take stock of the enormous privilege we've all had. I'm taking stock. Okay, so we should all take stock of the enormous privilege we've had of Rachel's leadership, stewardship, and friendship over the last number of years. I could say a lot more, but frankly, Rachel, I wasn't that happy with the filter you used on the last picture you put me on Instagram. So I'm going to leave. Let's just leave it #thanks, Rachel. Now let's begin the celebration of this year's distinguished graduate.
He is a thoughtful and charismatic leader.
He led the Asia Pacific Bank of JP Morgan Chase and then was the chairman and CEO of the Korea Exchange Bank.
He is co-founder, president, and CEO of Promontory Therapeutics, a successful early-stage company working at the leading edge of oncology research to advance small molecule immunotherapy.
He leads by inspiring others to work towards a common goal.
He believes in mentorship
and environments that encourage strategic risk-taking.
He has often compared being a CEO to a mountain guide.
The best mountain guides plan their routes, train physically, and have the appropriate and best gear.
CEOs create a vision for a path forward, develop and train their people, and equip them with the right resources.
As CEO, Rowe gives credit to others.
And when necessary, shoulders responsibility when things go awry.
He leads by example.
How did a young boy from Hyde Park find such global success?
He had help.
At 13, following his cousin, he joined a caddying program which led to a special scholarship and mentorship from the Francis Ouimet Scholarship Fund.
After graduating from Boston Latin in 1965, he attended Ohio University,
where his mentor, President Vernon Alden, suggested he apply to Harvard Business School.
After 2 days at HBS, and with the pull of his BLS prom date, girlfriend, and the woman he would marry, Joanne Duggan, he put business school on hold, joined the Peace Corps, and headed to Samoa.
When Roe arrived in Samoa to teach math and science, his flight landed in a cow pasture, with children shooing cattle away to make room for the plane.
The experience had begun.
A couple of years later, a volunteer arrived to build the country's first airport and explained capital markets. Roe realized with different skills he could make an impact on a much larger scale.
On a banana crate desk with a leaky Bic pen and a student composition book, he wrote his essay to reapply to HBS.
Explaining that 4 years earlier, he was not ready. Now, with life experience, he was primed to use his HBS education to make the world a better place. He credits Joanne, his wife, for his success. They are a team in the true sense of the word.
He has taught business at Columbia University, served on numerous boards including the Ohio University Foundation.
He maintained an 18-year board relationship with CIEE, the Council of International Educational Exchange, as director and chairman.
He had honored his BLS roots and core beliefs in the importance of international travel, relationships, and experience by facilitating the expansion of CIEE's Global Navigators Program to BLS and by co-funding its success.
Since 2015, 119 Boston Latin School students have had life-changing adventures of their own in 30 different countries.
James Pello, CEO of CIEE, describes Roe as brilliant and articulate, hardworking, worldly and wise, authentically kind, and dedicated to serving others.
His BLS classmate and dear friend, Joe O'Donnell, shared,
Roe is an incredible mentor, citizen, friend, father, grandfather, and husband.
He has the ability to read people and situations, exude empathy and compassion, and make whomever he is with feel like the only person in the world. Robert Fallon,
Boston Latin School.
Distinguished Graduate 2022.
Taking a long journey of life across the globe, but never forgetting where you started. For appreciating what Latin School has given to you, and for returning that kindness many times over to today's students. For living with purpose, curiosity, and thoughtful compassion. The Boston Latin School Association is honored to recognize Robert Fallon, class of 1965, as the 2022 Distinguished Graduate of the Year. Oops, sorry about that. All right, ready guys? 1, 2. The citation is actually in Latin, but I'll make it easier to do it in English. Robert Fallon, 65, Boston Latin School graduate, distinguished graduate, a well-respected strategic leader in the global banking industry, whose exemplary skills were honed through an exceptional 30-year career in Asia. A dedicated educator and mentor who has guided others by sharing his expertise of international finance and higher education, essentially cultivating the world's future leaders. A highly regarded advisor to local, national, and international policymakers with regard to foreign relations and educational exchange. An inspirational service leader whose sense of purpose was informed by his Peace Corps experience, and today reinforces his unwavering commitment to help others. A dynamic entrepreneur with the scientific community, who serves as a trailblazer in cancer research and developing immunotherapy therapies. A tireless advocate and champion of cross-cultural education, who empowers young people to expand their worldview. And a proud son of Boston Latin School, whose life stands in testament to alma mater's legacy and influence. Congratulations, Mr. Earl Fallon.
Oh, Chuck, thank you for that very fulsome introduction and award, and thank you all. Before I begin, could I just ask my colleagues from the class of 1965 please to stand up, because you've given me so much support. I have to put on my reading glasses because with age, of course, comes this particular burden. Well, I think before I begin, I would like to welcome Jason Gallagher and congratulate him on assuming the responsibility of headmaster. Jason, you're uniquely qualified to lead Boston Latin School, and going forward, I wish you all the best of success in the responsibility. And I should also acknowledge and thank Rachel Skerritt for her leadership. As head of school, Rachel, you were exceptional. As a helm, you successfully navigated Latin School through some of the most turbulent waters in the school's recent history. The fact that Jason is taking over in relatively fair seas with wind in the school's sails owes much to your dedication and your leadership. Thank you. And also to acknowledge former headmasters Michael Contapasis and Cornelia Kelly, whose friendship I've been privileged to know. I would like to also acknowledge last year's distinguished graduate, Prince Charles Alexander. And congratulate my fellow honoree, Berly Cordero, for being named as the 2023 Outstanding Recent Graduate. As I stand before you, I'm just overwhelmed, and I'm trying to reflect and communicate to you the sense of pride that I have in this honor. When Peter first informed me that I was chosen to be the distinguished graduate, I was surprised and I was humbled, to say the least. To consider this an honor is an understatement. It is an honor of the highest accord and one which I will treasure and be forever proud. I grew up in Hyde Park and I entered Latin School in 1959. It was the beginning of a new chapter in my life, and one which would indelibly mold me as a student and teach me how to work. From my first day as a 12-year-old 60, when Colonel Kelly marched on stage in the auditorium in his crisp military uniform. Now those of us of a certain age knew that in those days, Latin School taught military science. We were only 12 years after the end of World War II. And Colonel Kelly was the head of the military science program. It was a required course. And Colonel Kelly said, "Attention!" And everybody shook and stood up at attention. I was at 60 and I just stood there. I never heard such a loud voice. And he looked and he said, "Gentlemen, welcome to Boston Latin School. Look to your left. Now look to your right. Those two gentlemen will not be here when you graduate." And at the time I thought, oh, too bad for those guys. Kelly's message was pretty unequivocal. It was, you are expected to work hard and perform, and if you underperform, you're out. And that's pretty much how it was. Only about a third of my class 6 made it to graduation. My daily commute via the MBTA from Hyde Park was long, and 2 or 3 hours of homework at night added a huge burden. I remember one time that first year running to catch the trolley in Huntington Ave, and it was raining, I was weighed down with a heavy book bag, and I missed the trolley. And as I waited shivering in the rain, I began thinking that I wasn't cut out for Latin School. It just seemed too hard. I felt overwhelmed. In hindsight, it was hard, and I struggled to manage all of the work that was assigned, but this is what Latin school did. It molded your character. It challenged you. It taught you to reach within yourself to find strength that you didn't know that you had. And it taught me Latin. Common denominator of all of us here. The mere mention of Latin conjures up 30 lines a night, founded by Faculties, Caesar's God Wars, Cicero, Virgil, Ovid, Livy. I can still recite in dactylic hexameter, where Rum which you know is the beginning of the Aeneid. And boys being boys, because we were not a co-ed school at that time, too bad, we would have enjoyed it. We also knew how to have fun with Latin. We had our favorite quotes, "Tu solus prohibere potes ide solorum." Only you can prevent forest fires. Or, because we all read Mad Magazine on the subway, "Quid me annexus sum?" What, me worry? Or we joked, "What do you do if you tear your toga?" "Well, you go see those two Latin tailors, Euripides and Eumenides." We even made up our own verbs. Doggo, doggerem, maxi vitum. Spitto, spittere, haptui splatum. Or flunco, fluncera, suspensi bouncum. Over time, Latin became a part of us. We may never have mastered it, but studying the language was our shared bond, and it created an identity that made one proud to be a part of the school. But beyond Latin itself, Latin school also taught me how to work under pressure, how to study, how to think critically. Declamation taught me how to speak in public. I hope I'm doing so well today. And a series of masterful English teachers taught me grammar, vocabulary, and how to write well. I remember one English class when the master came in and asked us to take out a sheet of paper and write an essay about an umbrella. He collected the essays 45 minutes later. In the next class, he projected one of the essays up on the screen, and I recognized it. It was mine. I thought, oh, this is nice. And he said, "What do you think about this essay?" And my essay was, I described an umbrella. It has spokes, it will allow you to open up, and etc. And he said, "Do you want to read this essay more? Does this speak to you?" And I sat a little bit down in my chair. And he said, "Does this have style?" And I thought, uh-oh. And then he projected another essay up. And this essay, I began to read. "Ever since man has ventured up from caves to explore the world, he has sought protection from the elements, rain or shine. Tents became a necessity, and umbrellas arose as an individual portable tent." You get the picture? This was the Latin school Socratic education. I never forgot that lesson. Anytime I have to write, and I do a lot of writing, I try to remember this lesson. Style. If you're going to say it with style. Say it so it convinces somebody to want to read more. That was Latin school. And from Latin school, I was fortunate to be awarded a scholarship to Ohio University and eager to leave Massachusetts for the West. Of course, when I got to Athens, Ohio, my roommate from Cleveland explained, "Fallon, where have you been? This is the East." Where's the West? It starts at the Mississippi. So much for my provincial Boston upbringing. Well, I greatly enjoyed my university experience. I was encouraged to apply to Harvard Business School. I did, and I was accepted, but of course they put the picture up there of Vernon Alden, who was the president, and that certainly had something to do with it. After graduating, I transitioned to Harvard Business School, and the first day I went and picked up a massive number of case studies that I would need to read that semester. I went home discouraged. I wasn't sure why I was there. My high school sweetheart, whom I had invited to the Latin school senior prom, was a year behind me in school, and she wanted to join the Peace Corps. I thought about that. 2 days later, I went into the dean's office and I asked if I could defer my admission for 2 years because I had decided to go in the Peace Corps. The dean was quite understanding and gave me a letter of conditional acceptance 2 years hence. I felt free. December 1969, I touched down on a grass runway in an old DC-3. Welcome to Samoa. I was assigned as a Peace Corps volunteer to teach math and science at Chanel College, a secondary school run by a missionary priest. I had trained for 3 months on the island of Molokai in Hawaii, studying Samoan under a high-intensity language training program. Fortunately, I managed to pass my Samoan language foreign service exam, while several of my initial Peace Corps colleagues failed and were deselected. Latin school had prepared me to learn a foreign language. Samoa was a newly independent country in the South Pacific, 13 degrees south of the equator on a line halfway between Honolulu and Sydney. But I was in my element. Thatched with fales, picturesque villages, wonderful people. I taught math and science, I coached rugby, and I worked in the school's plantation. I had the chance during school holidays to visit some of my students' villages and to be treated like family. Polynesian culture embraced me, and the feeling was mutual. I still have on my wrist my Samoan kaulima, which is the first tattoo you get when you're a young man in Samoa. A year later, my wife, who was my date to the Latin School Senior Prom, and my original inspiration for the Peace Corps, arrived in Samoa herself as a Peace Corps volunteer. Joanne and I have been married 52 years, and I am forever grateful that she chose to marry a boy from Boston Latin School. Peace Corps is a wonderful foundation for our marriage. We stayed in Samoa for 4 years. I had to reapply to Harvard Business School, but they seemed happy to have me back. I certainly have gained much more perspective to bring to the school now. And armed with an MBA, I then joined Citibank, which was the leading international bank at that time. I was anxious to get back overseas. My interviewer, right in a very competitive process, had been in the Peace Corps as well, so I'm sure that cross-cultural experience that we shared got me in the door. After 6 months training in New York, they sent me to Hong Kong. It was such a rich tapestry of experience. If you would permit me, I'll just give you one anecdote. I started learning Cantonese, the lingua franca of Guangdong province, and of course Hong Kong. It's a more difficult dialect than Mandarin because it has 9 tones. But of course, armed with my Latin school intuition, I was going to master this language. And so we were invited to this very wealthy businessman's annual Shanghai crab dinner, which took place in November. And I walked in and I wanted to say in Cantonese, give an expression, say, right? Which was basically saying, my stomach is empty, I'm hungry, I'm so excited. And everybody went, and started to laugh. And I thought, I must have said something wrong. So later on, I buttonholed one of the sons, and I said, what did I say? We know what you were trying to say, but you didn't say that. What did I say? I said, well, you were trying to say moho tomo. I said, yes. He said, well, you said moho tomo. Oh, what does that mean? He says, it means my stomach is running. You said, I have diarrhea. It's true. Joanne was there. After 10 years in Hong Kong, Citibank transferred me to Japan, and that was another enriching experience. Here again, I could speak at length about living in Japan, studying Japanese, raising our 3 children in Tokyo, Japan. Our oldest, Alexander, is with us today. It's such a unique culture with such a tremendous capacity to embrace and absorb foreign things, but indigenize them in a uniquely Japanese way. Here's an example. 4 words, wapro, pasukon, sepuhara, and makudonarudo. What did I just say? Wapro, word processor, pasukon, personal computer, sepuhara, sexual harassment, and makudonarudo, McDonald's. I ended up later switching to JP Morgan Chase in Tokyo and eventually became the head of all of the bank's business in Asia Pacific. 13 different countries and a real melange of cultures and languages. Aside from the burdens of business travel over such a huge geography, it was a wonderful job. I relished it. I loved the many cultures and peoples I worked with, including the difficult ones. I retired from JP Morgan in 2002 to teach at Columbia Business School, but that lasted only a year because I was soon offered the opportunity to become the chairman and CEO of Korea Exchange Bank, Wei Hwan. Korea's largest international bank was struggling, and the Korean Ministry of Finance was insisting that a new CEO be recruited with proven international credentials and previous experience in Korea. I fit the bill. How could I resist? We moved to Seoul in 2003. It was the capstone of a career in Asia. We knew Hong Kong and China. We knew Japan, but Korea was the third leg of the East Asian stool, and perhaps in many ways the most interesting, because it was certainly the most Confucian of all. In Japan, cultivating friendships takes years. In Korea, if you respect Korean culture, you'll be welcomed. And if they really like you, you'll be embraced. You'll be your friends for life. I returned to Columbia in 2008, but after 4 years as a professor teaching international banking, I had to step down because the little biotech company that I had founded, Promontory Therapeutics, started to demand much more of my time. And that continues to be the case today, as Promontory's small molecule immunotherapy is currently engaged in 3 phase 2 clinical trials. The fact is, I'm working as hard now as I've ever worked in my life, but I'm motivated, and I have the great pleasure to work with 2 of my distinguished classmates from Boston Latin School, Dr. Joe O'Donnell, who serves as the Senior Medical Director of Promontory Therapeutics, and Dr. Dan Karp, our Principal Investigator at MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston. Once again, Latin School has reached out, brought us together, and enriched our lives. And when I reflect on my international experiences, I think the more cultures you experience, the more people you meet, the more you gain understanding of our shared humanity and can build relationships across borders. This impression was reinforced when I was invited to join the board of CIEE, the Council on International Educational Exchange. I soon realized what an extraordinary organization this was. The mission to promote global citizenship and humanize international relations through exchanges, study abroad, service learning, internships, and more spoke to my life experience. I remained on the board for 18 years and served as chairman for 9. And of the many boards I've served on, CIE will always be the one closest to my heart and to my worldview. And CIE also allowed me a very special opportunity to give back to Boston Latin School in a very unique way. In 2015, CIE CEO Jim Pello, who is with us tonight, had the vision to craft a study abroad program to promote a program for foreign language acquisition and cultural awareness tailored to high school students. Jim also managed to convince a wealthy philanthropist to provide substantial scholarship support for such an innovative program. He asked me if I knew of any high schools that might be interested in such a program. Indeed, I did. Boston Latin School became one of the first high schools to participate. That first year, 15 Latin School students received CIEE High School Global Navigator scholarships to travel overseas to participate in the 4-week study abroad and homestay program at a number of CIEE overseas locations. Their experiences were transformative. Today, I think 116 Latin School students have participated in the Global Navigator program, 35 this past summer alone. 2 of the early Global Navigator scholars are with us as well. Jack Connolly, who studied in Madrid. Jack, put your hand up. And Benji Java, who studied in Bonaire. And here, I must again thank Rachel Sterrett and the Clow Center for Global Understanding and History Program Director Tom Kennelly, who have been champions of the Global Navigator program from the start. The Clow Center in particular has been instrumental in providing key financial support. Thank you, Chuck. I think we can be proud that our beloved alma mater is equipping today's Latin School students to acquire knowledge and cross-cultural skills necessary to be productive global citizens. I know this from experience. I was a provincial kid from Boston. Latin School was the slingshot that launched me into the world from Hyde Park. The school molded me, developed my character, fostered critical thinking skills, and instilled confidence to live overseas for 31 years and give me the ambition to try to make a difference in the world. I'll be forever grateful for this pivotal educational and life experience. And now to stand before you and be recognized as a distinguished graduate of Boston Latin School is an honor of the highest accord and one that I will always treasure and be forever proud. I will do my best to live up to the ideals of this award, to serve the school, and hope that I may inspire others to do likewise. Thank you so much for this consummate recognition. I am truly honored. Suma gracias por this.
Broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' work it out. Ooh, mountains, we gon' work it out. Ooh. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, high like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. When the silence isn't quiet and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, but I promise you will bring the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains, and I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. All we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other. Oh, we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. Oh, we'll rise, and I'll rise up, high like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We will rise 1,000 times again, and we'll rise.